stubborn streak in your teenager or even maybe your toddler could be a challenge, but some studies say it might even give them an edge in life. So what's the key to tapping into traits that will help those stubborn kids not only get ahead, but live happy? Studio 5 parenting contributor Heather Johnson is joining me with strategies to help moms not only navigate the stubbornness, but turn it into a strength as well. Personal place, are you speaking from a personal place here? No names shall be named?
Yes,
yeah?
She's 9.
I think, isn't every child stubborn in their own little way?
So yes, but we're talking about, take like the normal stubbornness and kind of magnify it, multiply it, the frequency, right? It happens a little more often. And now we're talking about someone who we're saying stubborn, but I'd love if we could change it to strong-willed.
Strong-willed.
And that's the first thing we want to do in our heads, right? Yes, it's true. The research shows that kids who tend to have a stronger will tend to be able to be more focused. They're great at problem solving. They're driven. They tend to earn more money. We've got some really cool things here,
so
right?
So you buy into that research that it could be turned, that trait, as frustrating as it can be on the mom front,
yes,
can be channeled in a positive direction.
Yes, because let's look first what drives a strong-willed child. They are driven by the gathering of information in order to make good choices. Okay, well, I want all of our kids to be adults who can do that, right?
Yes, yes.
They want to be independent. I want all of our kids to be able to do that, right? Any characteristic you take technically of this strong-willed child who wants to make their own choices, who wants to have experiences to help them learn, who wants to be able to manage their own space and trust themselves in that space. Those are characteristics that I want every one of our children, that my husband and I strive to build in our kids.
Sure, sure.
So if we'll change it to strong-willed, because the problem is if we're already thinking stubborn, we've already decided in our heads that they are hard and that they're a pain and that they're making our life miserable.
Yeah, so change that vocabulary.
Change it.
Step one. Step two, you say, is kind of a pursuit of understanding how they learn and what makes them tick.
Right, and so a child who's strong-willed learns through experience. They do. This is the joke we have, right? Where you say it's hot, don't touch it, and the child's like, well, I need to touch it to see if it actually is really hot, right? They need to learn through experience. So we want to put them in as many positions as we can where experiences are their teachers. Let them have those experiences. And the crazy thing about it is usually we don't let them because it's a time issue. Because I'm thinking of me, because I'm behind, because I'm rushing, because I've put too much in a day. And so when our 4-year-old who has some independence and some strong-willedness says, I want to put my shoes on, I'm like, I don't have time. I don't have time for you to have that experience. I'm sorry. And then I'm frustrated. But the fact is, let's give them experiences that allow them to learn, to grow, to do those things.
Is part of this also kind of the parenting gulp that I've got to let them fail? I've got to let them crash sometimes.
Yes. And the thing is, if we can create the environment where it's safe, they can test it out and learn to crash without it being monumental to their existence, to their life, to their safety, to those types of things. And we want to recognize too that in this position, strong-willed kids who face up to experiences that are overwhelming tend to be more strong-willed. And so when you're fashioning these experiences, for example, our 9-year-old who is more strong-willed, math, the experience of math for her is very hard. It's more difficult. And so when she feels overwhelmed, she becomes a lot more strong-willed towards me when math is overwhelming. So see what the experiences do. Be really in tune to what those are and allow them. Let them have that space.
You kind of hinted at the power struggle that can surmount, I think, when a parent approaches the task of trying to parent and wrangle in this strong-willed child. How can we better manage those power struggle moments?
So the first thing is we have to realize we are the adult, which means we are responsible for not letting it happen. There's really no other way to put it. We have to be in tune with our emotions. We have to have enough patience. We have to have enough kindness. We have to care more about them than us. And we have to stop the power struggle. So ways we can do it. First, know you're in it. We tend to know we're in a power struggle if we're in a position where we're worried about winning or being right. So if I think in my head, I said it, I got to stick, there's no way. Even though the other shoulder is saying, Heather, it really doesn't matter. Yeah. Heather, she'd love to try this herself. Heather, give her the option. This is a great chance for her to learn. Oh no, but I said it. Oh no, I got to be right.
Yeah.
That's a power struggle. So if you want to let them go, the first thing to let go of is absolutes. Let go of absolutes. Words like always and never. A child with a strong will feels so trapped when they hear those things.
You're always this, or you never do that.
So I can even hear it. It would be like if I said to our daughter, you're never ready for school on time. And she wants to look at me and go, never, never, I'm never ready for school on time. It's that type of thing.
You did that really well.
Really, I know, maybe I've heard it before, right? And so it's that space where we trap them.
Yeah.
And so now remember, if they're driven by independence, if they're driven by choosing and making good choices, and now we've just told them that they never make them, that they never come through, well, now we've hit at the heart of who they believe they are.
Okay, so you mentioned the choices. We know it's good to offer choices, particularly maybe in this situation. How can we offer choices in a way that will motivate them, even a step further, motivate them to the right answer?
Right, so connect before you direct them. Always when you're offering choices, connect with them first. Connection means seek to understand them. So work really hard to understand them, and then you can offer up direction and choice, right? The other thing about choices, we get trapped as parents thinking, again, because we're in this power place where we have to be right, that choices have to look our way. Right, but a child who's strong-willed, simply saying, like we try to with our daughter, look, there are these 6 things that need done before you go to bed, and bed is at 8. So however you want to accomplish those, go get it.
A little more
right?
use of a structure.
Absolutely. Now, the beautiful thing is, to me, we do homework first, then we play with friends. But you know what? Our 9-year-old is a master at governing her own time. And she can go spend an hour and a half outside with the neighbor and come back in and know just how much time she needs to do her work and still get it all done. And so once I allow her that space, there isn't a struggle, but I have to let it go. I have to sit back and say, wait, what motivates you? How do I show you how much I trust you and love you? And once I offer that, she wants to do nothing but show up for me, nothing but show up for our family.
You say routines are really important for a strong-willed child. How come?
Well, you know, we tend to find ourselves as parents governing them, meaning iron-fisted ruling a stronger-willed child. We can let routines do that so we don't have to rule them. So put the routines in place and put them in place early and let those routines govern instead of us saying, have you done this? Did you do this? But I need you to do this, but I already, and hearing that.
The structure's in place so we don't have to parrot that over and over.
Right, and again, remember, they want choice, they want independence, they want to give things a shot. So give them the routine, let them do that.
As parents, are we quick to maybe judge or even jump in and fix the problem before they even have a chance to let their strong minds take action?
Well, yes, and even more than the fixing, we want it to stop because we're uncomfortable with it. We don't know what to do with it. We don't know how to deal with it. And so if we really want to get to a space where we get them, we have to understand them, but we have to have empathy to do it. So we have to be in a position where we hear them and we recognize what's going on, and then we offer empathy back. Now, here's the tricky thing about empathy. Empathy has 2 key characteristics. 1, it's no judgment, and 2, it's their truth. So think about the classic, I don't know, our 9-year-old doesn't feel she needs a coat most of the time. This is like a classic strong-willed child example.
Right.
So who am I to tell her that she's cold or not? Like, where did I all of a sudden decide that I know exactly what 56 degrees feels like to you?
This is a hard one, though, because I couldn't imagine sending out a kid in the snowy winter without a coat.
Sure, but the snowy winter will teach her very quickly whether she's cold or not.
Okay.
And so remember how she's driven. She functions from a place where if she doesn't get to choose and ask questions and figure out whys and independence on her own, she feels trapped. And so it's not going to take more than 2 seconds at recess for her to go, shoot, I should probably bring my coat, right?
Okay.
So in that position, we want to make sure that we let them govern it, right? So we can't judge it. The other thing, you know, the math example with our daughter too, there's a place where I have to recognize math and being hard for her is her truth. It's her truth.
Right.
4th grade division right now is impossible to her, sometimes at 3:30 p.m. on a Thursday. It's impossible. And so I have to offer empathy, which means I have to see it right then as impossible to her. Now, you and I both know it's not impossible, right? I also know she's very smart. We'll get there. But in that moment, if I just look at her and say, no, it's not, you can do it, instead of understanding with empathy that right now it is
hard,
then I can't see what to do next. So we want to make sure that we're always hearing and offering empathy.
This is a great topic, a great conversation. It does require, as I'm listening to you, the sharpest of parenting skills, doesn't it?
It does.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And Heather, of course, has a private practice where she helps families and couples. You can link over to her information from the Studio 5 website.